in my mind. Brand new sounds in my mind. But honey, I'll be seeing you.
Hi guys, so today we're going to be continuing on what we were speaking about earlier on, which was inequalities. So we mentioned about the really important symbols about inequalities. So I'm going to put them in and hopefully you remember what they mean. Okay, so the very first one that we meet is this one here, and it means less than. And I always remember that because it's actually in the shape of an L, isn't it? Kind of like an L. So for me, when I see the L, I know that that means less than. If it's not in the shape of an L, it means greater than. And obviously, if you know these two, you'll fly it at these two. If it's not in the shape of an L, it means it's greater than or equal to. And this one here, it's in the shape of an L, so less than, and the little line here means less than or equal to. So they're the main inequality signs. Well, they're the only 4 inequality signs we're going to be chatting about. So I guess the first thing is, well, why would we use inequalities? And one of the reasons is some maths problems, they don't just have one specific answer. They might actually have a few answers, okay? And that's why we would use inequalities, if we've got more than a few answers. So if I said, how many people can you fit into this car? So how many people would fit in this car? Well, the answer could be 1, 2, 3, 4, and depending on if there's a seatbelt there, 5. So there's a few answers there, there's a range. And that's where inequalities come in, when we have a few answers. Keywords that are really important for the next chapter, which is this chapter here. The first one is natural numbers, the second and the third is real. So they're the 3 ones. We've got natural numbers, integers, and real numbers. This lesson today is focusing on the natural numbers and the integers. And in the next lesson, we'll look at the real numbers. So to remind ourselves what a natural number is whole and it's also positive. An integer is whole, but it can be positive or negative. So it can be either. So if I was to look at the number 7 is a natural number. But it's also an integer. Our formula for integer is Z. Our symbol for natural number is N. So 7 is both a natural number and an integer. But if I was to look at, say, -4, that's not a natural number because it's not positive, but it's only a negative number. And remember, our symbol for negative is, our symbol for integer is Z. Okay, so hopefully you've got a clear understanding of what that means. If you don't, you need to take those notes into your copy now. Okay, so here I'm given a question. X is less than 4. So X is that number. You've been looking at it all year. So it's a number we don't know. It's less than 4, but I'm told some information. I'm told, well, this number is an element of the natural numbers. And I'm asked to do 2 things. Well, 3 things really, but one is super easy. So the first one is I need to write this in words, write what the inequality means. So you can see that the inequality here means X is, what's that symbol there? So X is less than 4 and X is part of the natural numbers. So if I'm asked to write this whole thing in words, that's exactly what I'd say. Okay, right, sorry. Sorry about that, Miss O'Shea just came in, so there's a lot of noise, but we're back to normal now. Right, so write in words, we've done that. Solution set, what can our answers be? Well, it has to be less than 4, so the first number that's less than 4 would be 3. Less than that is 2, less than that is 1. 0 is less than that, but hang on, it has to be an element of the natural numbers, and we know that the natural numbers start at 1, so that's my answers there. So my solution set is 3, 2, 1, and I'm going to show that on a graph by simply drawing a nice straight line. And I'm going to mark in the numbers that I need. Okay, and it's 3, 2, 1, so I'm going to mark 5 here, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is I might bring it on a bit further to show 0. And if I brought it on a bit further, that would show -1. And I'm going to mark this by saying, well, if x is less than 4, it can be 3, it can be 2, it can be 1. And I'm marking that by using these dots, okay? Okay, so the next example is x is, and you should know this symbol by now, greater than or equal to 6. And x is an element of the natural numbers again, so n for natural numbers. So the first thing I have to do is I have to write that in words. That's no problem to us. Easy done. Kabam! Done. All right, the next part is the solution set. Okay, so this number x, we don't know what it is, but we know it's greater than or equal to 6. Okay, so if it's greater than 6, it can be, or equal to 6, the first number it can be, well, it can be 6, can't it? Now, it's greater than or equal to 6, so it could be bigger than 6, so it could be 7, it could be 8, it could be 9, but hang on, it keeps on going, doesn't it? 1,000,001, isn't that greater than 6? It is. 1,000,000,001, is that greater than 6? It is. So it goes on and on and on forever. So we just do those dots there, guys, to show that it goes on and on and on forever. All right, the graph then, we're going to go and do it the exact same way as we did the last one, so a nice straight line. And we're saying, okay, well, here is 5, here is 6, here is 7, 8, 9, 10. And we're saying, okay, so it can be 6, it can be 7, it can be 8, it can be 9, it can be 10, but it can be anything after that. So we do an arrow if it keeps going on forever. So just remember that as well. Okay, last example here is x is less than or equal to -1, and this time x is an element of z, and z means integers. And do you remember what we said about integers? To be an integer, you can be positive or negative, but you have to be a whole number. Okay, all right. So we're going to do the 3 steps again. The first 3. Kabam! And here they are. Huh? What about that? Write in words, solution set, and graph. So we're going to write this in words. So the number we don't know is less than or equal to 1, and it's part of the integer group. And I meant -1 up there, okay? Sorry, I said 1. So x is less than or equal to -1, and it's part of the integers. So that's brilliant. So now, it's less than or equal to -1, and it's part of the integers. So its first one that it could be is obviously it's less than or equal to -1. It could be -1. Now, less than that is -2. Less than that is -3. But it can be any number less than -1. So that means it could be -4, it could be -400, it could be -4,000, or it could be -4,000,000. So it goes on and on forever, so we do those 3 dots. Okay, the last bit then is the easy bit, my favourite bit, the graphing. So you do a nice straight line. Now we lay things out perfectly, so here's 0, here's 1, here's 2, here's 3. Here's -1, -2, -3, -4, and we're going to graph the inequality. So it is going to be less than or equal to -1. So technically it could be -1. So if that's the case, we're going to put a dotted -1. It could be -2, it could be -3, it could be -4, but it also could go on and on forever. So we do a big arrow going in that direction as well. Okay, so learning check tonight, guys. Number 1, ensure you've taken all the notes down from the lesson. And I know you've already done that, so I shouldn't even be saying it to you. But anyway, just in case. Number 2, you're going to do this quick question for me. If x is greater than 5 and x is an element of the natural numbers, can you... Number 1, give me the solution set. And number 2, graph it for me. Okay, and I will see everybody tomorrow. So that's your A and your B. All right, have an enjoyable evening, guys.